What's up? I'm Brian,
My name is Megan.
and welcome to the Voice of PatsNation Podcast presented to you by Primetime Productions. We have a very prestigious guest with me, an old friend of mine. He's a Trent Brown defender, Demario Douglas truther, and I'm excited to have him because it's been a long time since we've done a podcast together. It's Mr. Brycen NFL. What's up, Brycen?
Hello, everyone. I'm here to spread the joy of Demario Douglas.
Yeah.
Hope everyone's having a good day.
Yeah. Megan, how you feeling?
I'm trying to be as optimistic and happy as possible. This is a real smile.
I mean, can we talk a little bit about how we were actively perhaps rooting for a loss? Were you guys nervous at all when they had the ball? Because I was not nervous. I knew we were losing the game. I had no faith in the team, right? So Mac Jones gets the ball back with a minute and some change, right? And I'm like, oh, and people really expect this guy to drive the ball 60 yards for a chance for our rookie kicker to miss it. It's not. There's no way. It's not happening. So were you a little nervous?
I expected them at least get to the 50 and then make a mistake. I knew there was going to be a mistake. I didn't know it was going to be right away, like 3 right in a row. But I expected it to be a mistake that happened that cost the game. That's usually how the MO goes for the season.
That's been their MO, right? And Brycen, we talk a lot about the Patriots, but man, let's start small. What did you think about the game?
Only they had Douglas out there.
Yeah. What do you think about the game? Did you have any faith? Did you think that they were going to win the game?
Once Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, I 100% thought the Patriots would win the entire time.
Yeah.
I know I was kind of trolling because they were playing bad, but this is kind of what the Patriots have been doing over the last couple of years. Is when they're in a spot where I really want them to do something, they don't do that thing, and it never fails.
It really doesn't. Can you remember in the Mac Jones era the last time they came up clutch on a drive? Because I don't remember. I'm going to give it to Brycen here because, he's been pounding the table saying Mac Jones is not good for a long time. And I kind of was I was kind of like,
I was there too. Yeah. He got us both. He got us both.
He got us,
It's the time to say you told you so.
Yeah, it wasn't even like it's not like one of those things where you're like, oh no, you had us in the first half, but no, he had us the entire game, and he called it. So Brycen, I'm gonna ask you, man, what did you see from Mac Jones this entire time that made you say Mac Jones wasn't good enough? So what did you see?
Okay, well, you all have to know about me that I do not watch college football, right? I don't have time to watch college football. I'm a very casual fan. I only watch the quarterbacks, basically. That's it. So I rely on a lot of other people saying things. And I have a friend who's pretty good at evaluating quarterbacks, and he was just like, the 2021 class is actually not good. And Trevor Lawrence is probably the best out of them all, but he's really not that great. So I always go with him because he's been right about quarterbacks a lot. So, then what you see from what I agree with Mac Jones is he's just not really that physically gifted. And when you're not really that physically gifted, you cannot make as many mistakes as he has been.
Right.
And you can obviously tell that the team is crumbling around him, but so is he. And if you remember the thing that I've always said about Mac Jones is as long as he has things around him that look good, he will reflect the same, but he will transcend nothing. And when you need him, he will not be there.
Right.
And even when he's had the seasons of playing, people say, well, but if you really go back and look at the 2021 stats, he did have some nice throws, and he wasn't actively a bad quarterback, but I really do think that his surroundings get a bad rep because he just is not very good at elevating other players. If you remember the 4th down with Gesicki when he had to hurdle the ball backwards, with a good throw, a relatively good throw on that play, Gesicki is getting the first down easily. And you can look in the play and just say, the Patriots don't have good weapons, but there are a lot of things that Mac Jones just can't do in the NFL because he just doesn't really have that strong of an arm. And if you really consider, the thing I've been thinking about, and I've been talking too much, but the thing I really do think about Demario Douglas And if you did give Mac Jones like a really fast receiver, like him and Taekwon's been open, and it just doesn't work out. It hasn't lasted. It didn't the last year either. But I think that with those speedy receivers, just imagine if you have a quarterback with Tyreek Hill flying across the field, and you need arm to have those balls in there and fit into those tight windows. And Mac is really good, as you saw with the Parker throw. I've always said that if you've heard me talk about it, at those high arcing moon balls from 30 to 50 yards, that's his bread and butter right there. But when he's not doing that, he's relatively average or below average at just about everything else. So I think that's why we see the Patriots with all these bigger weapons, is because they know that in order for Mac Jones to succeed, you need basically Devontae Parker type 50-50 guys, but obviously Parker has not been even a 10-90 guy.
Yeah.
But I think that's the reason why the offense is the way it is, though, and what I think about Mac Jones.
Right. So let me ask you, and I'm going to let Megan go, and then you can jump onto Brycen, and then I'll give my 2 cents on that. But I want to ask you both, because this has been a hot topic of debate as far as, shifting blame. Who's to blame? Was it Bill? Was Mac always just destined to be just what he is now? Or is it a reflection of maybe how Bill Belichick built, the team, and he just couldn't, like I said, he couldn't transcend anyone. He couldn't elevate anyone's play. So I'll start with Megan. Do you think the reason for Mac's regression is because of Bill Belichick? Or do you think this was always going to happen no matter what, even if they had competent O-line play, but, or just this is just a regression on the quarterback?
I think, I can't put everything on Bill, because it's sometimes, the players go out there and play, right? And I feel like Mac does take things, things get to his head a little bit. I feel like you can kind of see it. He can't really get over mistakes, as he talks about. Yeah. But I would say most of the blame I would put on Bill, just because I feel like he has this roster constructed as if Brady is still on the team, and he doesn't have that quarterback that can make guys better. You don't have that quarterback that can get out the ball out the pocket in less than 2 seconds. You don't have that quarterback. You drafted a quarterback, as Brycen was saying, that was limited. So his ceiling, what was expected was a Matt Ryan, which I was fine with, a Matt Ryan ceiling. Right?
As far as play, because Matt Ryan has a better arm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. As far as play, he was not a mobile. He was a pocket passer, QB who can throw it down the field, but it's not really consistent. It's not really even known for. I think the 5. You said his bread and butter was the air in the 40s, 50s. Yeah, the moon ball. I like the 5 and 10 for him in the middle. I think the Bill O'Brien offense would work well for him if he had a better offensive line, and he actually had a wide receiver, better wide receiver group. But he's not Tom Brady. He's not going to make the guys around him better. He can't really do, you need a support system around him.
Yeah, you can't elevate.
You need a good roster around an average quarterback or below average quarterback.
So is this Mac's regression is not, you say it's not all Bill, right?
It's him getting in his head. Yeah, it's Bill's construction and roster has not helped him, but it's also Mac getting in his own head and letting that defeat him. I feel like Mac is not doing himself favors by trying to force things, trying to throw it, things that he knows he's not supposed to be doing, throwing it across the middle of the field 2 times in one game. And taking sacks that he's not supposed to be taking. He's making a lot of rookie mistakes just because he's trying to do too much, but also part of that is because of the roster construction.
By the way, that interception he threw, and I know Brycen saw this because I know he catches this shit. I know you caught. I'm pretty sure you caught it too. But he overthrew Hunter Henry, and Hunter Henry was open.
Yeah.
He was open.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry was.
It's just crazy because he wasn't this inaccurate. He has not been I'm not saying a perfect passer, but before these 2 games, this is the worst 2 games, and this was bothering me, Brycen, because I went on I said this in our me and Brycen had a debate, if you guys don't know, about Mac Jones, and I was going hard for Mac, you can't judge him now, you have to give him time, and he has the worst 2 games of his whole career. And I'm the first game, you know what? It was a bad game. He'll hopefully get a little bit better. Yeah, I didn't think it was he had a bad game. I'm he's not going to be this bad again. And he goes to be this bad again. So I'm dang. Okay.
Nostradamus Brycen. He's he saw the future.
Yeah, I was I'm not going for a bat for this guy. At this point, it is what it is. I think both of them would be helpful. I don't think like he would play like a lot of people like play his last snaps in the NFL. I don't think that's the case. I think he can benefit from new scenery. I just don't think he's going to be ever be like a top 10 QB. Never.
Brycen, what do you think? Do you think Mac it was just always going to be limited? And this is what we're seeing now is what he always was, or do you think Bill Belichick's to blame for some of his regression?
Well, like I think that Bill would probably tell you that Mac Jones hasn't played well at all, and from Bill's perspective, he really has done a lot for Mac Jones. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but he signed Jonnu Smith. He signed Hunter Henry. I mean, Aguilar's looked decent in Baltimore. Jonnu Smith has looked pretty decent too.
Yes.
Like we said, Bill, I'm pretty sure, except for the offensive line, is thinking that with decent quarterback play, they win a lot of these games. I know something that Lombardi always says is like the Patriots are always down. They're always down 7-0, and then with the kind of offense they have, when you get I'm pretty sure I've told this to Brian too. When you get down 7-0 and you're the Patriots, you're basically down 21 points, and the other team knows that. So they're always fighting an uphill battle because when you have Mac Jones as your quarterback, you're not going to get those explosive plays. And the Patriots don't have those guys that will create explosive plays either. So it's really a double-edged sword. Like I can see the argument for, well, Mac Jones isn't playing well because the things around him aren't the greatest. I totally agree with that. Like if he had a better offense, that would be great. I just think that he's a limited quarterback, and and the thing that people will say, and they'll try to they think they've owned you, is they'll say, well, he would do really good, in San Francisco, in the greatest offense in the NFL right now, with probably a top 5 offensive mind of the last 20 years. Like that's not an own to say that a quarterback could walk in and play okay in that system. That's not an own at all. Like, tell me about what Mac Jones would do and with the Jets or something like that.
Yeah.
Mac is going to be a product of his surroundings, and Bill Belichick, I almost can feel this in my bones now, where Kirk Cousins gets released or something like that, and Bill, I'm pretty sure Bill's like, all right, defense is pretty good. We have a couple weapons. We've got a lot of money. Let's just sign Kirk Cousins. We won 7 games with Cam Newton, and we've won some games with Mac Jones. Let's just get a guy that we know can play football out there. You can hear him saying it right now.
Yeah.
He's gonna sign Kirk Cousins, and he's gonna draft a few weapons and with that high pick.
I mean, look, I don't disagree with either one of you. I think Mac is a product of his surroundings. I think Megan said it, Brycen said it. I mean, I honestly can't say anything to it because you guys put it so well. I also think that, in some terms, it's not all on Bill Belichick either in the term that there's been certain plays out there that have been left on the field where it's just the players making the mistakes. It's not really the coach himself, just a decision that he make directly, or it's just them shooting themselves in the foot or taking stupid penalties. But I will tell you this, that I do feel his coaching has kind of teeter off a little bit. There's some decisions there that I don't like. I mean, I know for a fact, me and you, Brycen, always talk about all the time, like, why is DeMario not getting enough playtime? Why is DeMario Douglas not getting enough playtime? Why is practically the receiver who looks like who create the most separation on the field? He can create the most yards after the catch, who seems to be the most electrifying or at least exciting, who's got the most zip when he gets the ball in his hands, is not out there. And guys like Parker and Juju. Though I think my biggest gripe with Bill Belichick is the offensive line and the rotating bodies that he's put at right tackle. I think Calvin Anderson was a trash signing. I think Riley Reef obviously didn't work out. He's hurt. I think he's on IR. He's done for the year. I don't know exactly what's going on there. Then you draft 3 interior guys, and they're not that great. DeJuan Jones is sitting there, and you don't take him. And you draft Jake Andrews to just basically sit idly in your bench and do nothing. I don't know what he's supposed to be doing. There's certain moves that I don't like. Not retaining Jacoby. I could see why you didn't retain Jacoby, because I think you had a vision of maybe you want to get a guy like Juju who can create more yards after the catch. But obviously, also the contrast to that is that Jacoby Myers had already had a repertoire with your quarterback. So, and he was someone who was comfortable and had a connection with the quarterback. And you're trying to build off something positive, anything positive in your offense. You would think that you would try to just at least retain that guy and just build more, add more on top of that. On top of not having a number one wide receiver, I can also, by the way, I can totally see the Kirk Cousins things happening, where they go and get Kirk Cousins and maybe they go and get a left tackle, in the draft. I can totally see Bill with the top 5 pick, and he'll just take the best tackle available,
yeah,
and he'll sign Kirk Cousins, and he's like, all right, let's run it back. We have a couple, like you said, we'll have a couple of weapons here, there, then we'll draft a 4th round wide receiver from Chattanooga State University, some D3 college safety, and let's run it back. But I don't know. There's a lot of singular questions that I have about the roster building. It's not even just about the offense. It's just about draft decisions and certain guys that it's kind of worn me off to Bill Belichick and in his style. I don't know if the style itself is outdated, if it's antiquated, if he feels that, like you said, maybe in his mind he's done enough and the quarterback's just let him down, or maybe it's just a combination of both. Maybe the quarterback play has let him down, because Mac is obviously not good enough, and also he's let him down because he hasn't seen, like Megan said, he hasn't seen that he doesn't have 12 back there, so he has to kind of add more juice to the offense in order to create more offensive points. So I honestly, you could give 10 different reasons, and all 10 different reasons could be correct, because there's just so many problems with the Patriots that you could go up and down the roster, and it's just not good. Nothing has panned out for them as far as, especially this offseason. Like, there's really not a single move that I've seen like, oh man, they nailed that one, except for drafting Gonzalez, and that's about the only move you could say that they nailed this offseason.
And we all knew that was that was something that everyone rooted for. I would imagine though, like, I want to touch on a little bit what you said. Like, imagine if we had Myers, there's definitely some 3rd downs I think that would be converted, just because like that was his blanket and you could count on that. But I do have a question. The reason with Bill Belichick, his fault. The only reason why I think you have to consider it is because I feel like not just Mac, but every player comes in here, they have a drop off this past few years. Like,
yeah, like Brycen said it. John Smith, Nelson Aguilar's looked,
Jacoby Myers even looks better in Las Vegas than he ever did. And Brian Hoyer looks better in Las Vegas than he looked in New England.
Yeah, everyone looks
like
better.
Everyone looks better. So it's like there's something with the development. Offensive line has really dipped since Scar left. And even then, even Scar left before and then we had the guy from the Giants that we brought in for coaching. I forgot his name. Brian, was Brian something? And he was coaching all line. Awful. Like, I think offensive line too, he was depending a lot on Scar for quarterback. Like, there's guys that he was depending on that was great, and then he hasn't really replaced those guys offensively. These offensive minds that were helping him out.
Yeah.
And we thought this because Bill O'Brien was back. Oh, that's going to help out a lot. But Bill O'Brien's handed this roster. It's downfalling, and
I don't know.
It's just a mess.
It's everything's a mess now. Brycen, I'm going to start with you. Do you think the Patriots should move on from Bill Belichick after the season? Like, do you believe that? Do you think that that's like, that could be like the remedy to help them restart? I guess I'm not sure how you would exactly. I don't know how to word it, because I don't know if they're gonna rebuild. I feel like the team still has enough pieces on defense that maybe they could be competitive. I mean, Megan, we debated this last podcast. How she said it would take like 3 years. I said, turnarounds in the NFL can happen sometimes quicker if you get the right personnel in here. Do you think Bill Belichick should stay after the season?
Yeah, everyone just wants, they just think that Kraft is just going to get rid of Bill Belichick, and I just can't see that. I think he's definitely going to hang on to Bill Belichick, and I think he's going to give him one more shot. And really, for that matter, if the Patriots just re-sign Trent Brown and they get a decent tackle, if Bill Belichick actually just wants to sign Kirk Cousins, they could probably still compete in the division.
Yeah.
Just sign a few players. I really their defense is always going to be decent when you have I know I would rather have an offensive minded coach, and I would rather have a coach that's sort of progressive in that way. If the Patriots ever did hire another coach, I would not want it to be like some defensive-minded guy. I think in today's NFL, to be good every single year consistently, you absolutely like have to have someone that's an offensive-minded coach.
Agreed.
But I just think that Kraft is going to keep Belichick around, and like I don't think like he's older. Like, is he really gonna just restart with another guy and just what if that doesn't work too? You know, you kind of like a lot of times I would say he's probably going to keep Bill around. And I would say, like, what do you guys think that Kraft and Tom Brady, when they talk about Mac Jones, what do you think they talk about? Because I think this is actually one of the most important things about the Patriots really is like Tom Brady's opinion and ability to influence Kraft on how Mac Jones is playing, especially since he came back and watched him play. And he always does. Him and Kraft talk all the time, but I wonder what Kraft and Brady talk about with Mac. And I think that something like that would weigh much higher than the things we're talking about right now. Like if Brady went to Kraft and was like, look at the offense. Bill's setting this guy up. He doesn't have a very good arm. Like, do you think he would say that to him, or do you think Brady's like, just give him a few weapons, like the kid will shine? I don't think Brady's going to say that.
No, I don't think so either. I think Brady's going to tell him, like, you need to just restart on offense. You need to scrap the whole thing, and you need to just go with a different game plan. Whether that's
what would Brady say about Belichick, Brian?
Well, even Edelman's saying stuff now. Like you got even Teddy. Like guys are coming out and just even saying like his GM job should be stripped. I think Brady's saying, look, you still don't have like a top wide receiver. Like look at I was fighting for guys when I was here, and look, it's still not.
I don't know if he would say anything about the wide receiver position. I think Brady just kind of likes to throw like he knows his aura, and he knows that Brady can be like, look, I made it work with whoever was here for 20 years. You guys brought me whoever the hell you brought over here. I made it work, right?
But he knows he's not Brady. Like he knows there's only one Brady.
There's no Brady. This exactly. But I'm saying this is what Brady's saying in that scenario. But I think Brady would say, listen, I think you need. You need a new game plan at quarterback.
You don't think he went to Tampa Bay though because of the weapons? I think that's part of the reason he left.
I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I really don't want to go and be like, why he went. I really don't want to get into it because we've had so many discussions, and I know Brycen has had many discussions on why Brady left. But like, I don't want to touch that subject as far as why he went there.
If I get a Netflix documentary, something.
I think it goes further than 2019 for Brady for why he decided to leave. And I think ultimately for him, he made himself the correct decision because he gave himself an opportunity to win another Super Bowl. And good for him, happy for him that he did. Now, now going back to Bryce's question, I think if Kraft is asking Brady for his opinion, then Brady's telling him, you need a new arm back there. I like Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a good kid, but he'll be a serviceable backup in the NFL, or maybe he just needs a fresh start somewhere else. But you need a new start here, whether that's Kirk Cousins, Drake May, whether that's, Penix, whoever you want to get in the draft. If you want to get someone in the draft, or if you want to get somebody like Kirk Cousins, who I also believe, I think Minnesota's going to go with a young guy because they have to give Justin Jefferson a bunch of money just to even keep him. So I'm pretty sure they're going to want a guy maybe on a rookie deal. Definitely, and I don't have a problem with Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a really decent quarterback who always gets. I guess Kirk Cousins gets the opposite of what New England gets. New England, they don't have a defense. Basically, it feels like every year that everybody's saying, if the Vikings had a defense, they would cook. I don't know. I don't have a problem with Kirk Cousins. I'm going to ask you guys: do you guys believe in Kirk Cousins to be able to lead a Patriots team? Do you believe in Kirk Cousins?
He drops off in the playoffs. He's average. He's an average QB during the season. He might have a couple games, 3-4 games. He's really good, but he always drops off in the playoffs.
Brycen, you believe in Kirk Cousins?
No.
Exactly. I know who he likes. He likes Drake May. I mean, or Caleb Williams. Which one is it, Brycen? You like May or Williams?
Well, we started because, as you know, I am a college football casual, so I have to listen to other people, and I will have to say, Brian may know him. His name's Joe. His head's going to get so big by listening to this podcast and us talking about him, but he really is good at scouting quarterbacks. Yeah. Initially, when we talked, it was like, this quarterback class is much better than the 21 class. This is the class that you get a quarterback in. Conveniently, he's a Bears fan, so like he's looking for a quarterback too, kind of. So
always looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, so it's Caleb Williams and this Drake May, but the current opinion is that right now Drake May is a better player than Caleb Williams, which when you say that on Twitter or X or whatever, people get really mad because I've been saying that lately, but that's just what Joe and I have talked about and what Joe said. So I'm like, okay, I agree. And after kind of just like I'm a highlight watcher, like I'm just literally watching highlights, and I think that like Drake, he does have like, I think people were like kind of saying he's like a Herbert light kind of, and I think
I've heard that. I've heard that.
And if I were the Patriots, that's what I would want. Obviously, it's kind of hard to get up in that. We're seeing how difficult it is because teams will just like the Patriots will win games, other teams will win games. So we'll see. But if they get a chance, I would love for them to draft Drake May.
Herbert's getting a lot of backlash though right now too, though.
What for last night's game?
Yeah, and just in the NFL in general, people are always saying that. I mean, do you think it's valid? No? Okay.
No, I think Justin Herbert is a good quarterback, and I think he doesn't have the correct coach for him. I think Brandon Staley is a goof. Yeah, I think Sean Payton should have stayed out one more year, and maybe instead of grabbing that Broncos job, and he should have gone to
that would have been a good match.
Yeah. Or maybe a guy like Ben Johnson or some Frank Smith, somebody there somebody better than Staley. Staley is just like, I don't believe in Staley as like a coach. I think Justin Herbert is an excellent quarterback, and it's the same thing. Like it's one of those things where Herbert has time and time again put his team in position to win, and then his coach makes very dumbfounded decisions where they end up losing games, like really close games, and I really can't blame Herbert too much for that. I mean, he's got too much talent. He's young, like
he has talent. He has a good arm.
And he's got an amazing arm talent. Like the kid is like, he's got a rocket for an arm. So like, I wasn't big on Herbert, but I've seen him play quite a couple games this year. And I'm like, okay, so he's a legit quarterback.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I do. So like, I don't always get to catch all the games either, but instead of highlights, Brycen, watch, like put the quarterback's name and versus. This way you get the full tape. This way you're not just getting the good plays, you also see the bad plays, and you kind of get it. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, and also, Caleb Williams, going back to what Brycen said, he gets a lot of touches on some broken plays here and there. Some of them don't look particularly clean as far as mechanics and stuff like that, where he's just like throwing off his back foot and just launching it. Like, oh, somebody's got to be down there somewhere. And usually those kind of plays in the NFL get you in trouble, right? Like those don't really happen where you're just like scrambling around back there for like, 7 seconds, and you just throw off your back foot and you just launch one and just somebody comes down with it. Like your receiver comes down, walks in for a touchdown. Those kind of plays, I've seen a lot of those for Caleb Williams, and a Drake May seems to be a little bit more refined as far as like, like he's a mobile quarterback who can be mobile, but he also, his mechanics are a little bit better, and you don't see so many wild plays as far as that goes. So I do like that. But all right, so I'm going to shift the conversation a little bit for you guys. And how many wins do you see the Patriots having this season? Because I have a running bet, and I don't think they win another. I don't think they win. I think they might win 1 or 2 more games.
Yeah, play Zach Wilson one more time.
It doesn't matter. The Jets are a better team. The Jets are
but
Zach Wilson is playing better than Mac Jones is right now. And Zach Wilson, to top it all off, Zach Wilson is playing better than Mac Jones. And Zach Wilson is going to be playing the Patriots defense that no longer has Christian Gonzalez, no longer has Matthew Judon. They have injuries. They're playing Miles Bryant as DB2. They have not been that great. Kyle Duggar has not been in particularly anything spectacular. So I can see the Jets actually winning that game. The only game that I think they might have a chance is against the Broncos. But then again, everybody keeps saying the Broncos have a bad defense. Oh, look, they're atrocious. The Raiders hadn't scored more than 20 points all season, and then they did it against us. And the Raiders defense is nothing to write home about. So let's start with you, Brycen. How many games do you see the Patriots winning the rest of the season?
When I think about it, I think that they may win a few more games than you're thinking. But as I look back, teams like the Patriots that aren't very good, they can stay and hang around in some games and teams will kind of play around with them, like those kind of really bad teams traditionally. But is it not seeming like other teams just want to absolutely demolish the Patriots for 4 quarters and they've never let off the gas? And the
It really
Patriots
does.
I
Yeah.
think they may be because of all the history and all the years, all the coaches in the NFL, all the players in the NFL. That dynasty was pretty recent. I
Yeah.
know Tom Brady's not there, but Bill Belichick is. And every game you have a chance for other people to talk about. Is this Bill Belichick's last game? Is this Mac Jones' last game? So does it not just feel like other teams are just blasting the Patriots and they're like everyone loves it? And that's what's going to happen for the rest of the year. But maybe in that sense, it's a good thing. And karma comes back to us, and the Patriots get a nice quarterback pick next year out of it.
Yeah.
And that's the only good thing that I can foresee out of this year. I think that's what's going to happen for the rest of the year. Every team will want to just blow the Patriots' doors off, and it will stink. But at the end of the year, we will have the last laugh and the top 5 pick.
Yeah. Man, how many games do they win?
So actually, with Sean Payne, I believe the record's like I was looking this up, 2-2, Bill versus Sean Payne. So it's not like something like. So the reason why I believe like I'm not scared about Zach Wilson playing a little bit better or us being injured because we just have his number. Like Bill, if Bill doesn't know nothing else, Bill knows how to play Zach Wilson. He's gonna throw interceptions this game.
Is back there.
He's gonna. I'm telling you, if Zach will. I feel confident in.
All right, so you're counting that as a W, okay?
Yes.
So how many W's in total? I need to know.
I think a total. I think I give him 4 games.
4 games. So on top of the one we already won. So
Yeah.
5 games total.
So yeah, no, 4 in total. 4 in total. So 3 more games. Sorry. Broncos, Jets, Chargers.
Chargers.
They have Chargers. It's not. It doesn't feel. I feel like there's always a game where they surprise people. There's always a game that surprise people, and they always seem to do it. That's a team they always seem kind of do that.
Listen, the only team that I see them beating is probably this. I think, right, and this is because they have offensive ineptitude, but they're probably going to own us. Is the Giants, the Broncos, and the Colts. Those are the 3 most winnable games that I think. I honestly think the Jets are going to put it on. I mean,
How long is Richardson on IR?
I think he's gone for the year.
A year? Oh, no.
Yeah, I think he's
so that's a possibility.
But again, Gardner Minshew. He's gonna. I saw Brian Hoyer dot us up. Like
so that's fair. Yeah,
at this point, I feel like you can put fucking, literally anyone out there. You can put Pee Wee Herman at quarterback, and he's gonna dot us up for 250 and 3 TDs. So I don't know exactly, what's going on with that. As far as I don't know, if just like the team's just giving up, or
I've got a stat for you, Brian.
Go ahead.
I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, shoot.
I know I posted on my Twitter, but I looked at the data. I compiled the data. There's a stat, and it's a punts per score stat. So it tracks every time you score, how many times do you punt. So in general, if a team is under 1, that's a really good offense. So the Patriots right now are at 3 punts per score. You may be saying, where is that at? Like in the general NFL. Okay, it is last, and it is by far last. And so I thought, well, okay, I'm pretty new to this punts per score stat. Let me just go back and look the past 20 years. They are by far the highest team at punts per score, which means that like if you're the Patriots defense, you are on the field all the time. If you think about the Patriots first drive, it's like boom, the other team instantly has the ball. So it's hard for me to really say the Patriots defense is that bad because time is really a really big part of defense and time possession.
Yeah.
And so even though they don't have Gonzalez, like their yards per player is still decent. But right now in the last 3 games, I know that 3 punts per score was bad. It's at 5.3 right now.
Listen, not only that, going back to your point where you start the game and we go 3 and out, right? And they score. They go down the field, we're down 3-0, 7-0. Before you know it's 10-0, 13-3, and boom, by the time it gets away from you. Even when we have a chance, right, to get the ball first, we defer. And when we defer, we put the defense on the field first. When we decide to keep the ball, we go 3 and out immediately and give the ball right back to their offense. And they so I'm not surprised at all to hear this stat about how much time on the field the defense is. But you also have to think that it's got to be really demoralizing as a defense to just watch that offense just completely stink every drive, and then you just have to go out there and just, no, we got to hold the fort down because offense once again can't fucking score more than 10 points, and we just have to be out there and just try to pick up the slack and do all this. I was talking to someone a couple days ago, and it was a very valid point. Think about this. The Patriots defense last season scored 8 touchdowns. Kyle Duggar by himself had 3. 8 touchdowns. If that you take away those takeaways and that production from the defense and special teams that we're obviously not getting this season, last season's team will have a similar record to this season. Because how many games we have lost without all that offensive help that we got from the defense last year, which we're not getting this year, right? So think about that. The defense was carrying so hard last year, right? And now you're not getting that production from the defense.
They broke their back.
And then look, you're totally exposed because you can't get turnovers. Aside from Jabril Peppers spearing dudes, like, removing their organs from their bodies to cause turnovers, you're not seeing a lot of interceptions or none of that stuff. It's not happening. It's really not happening. So
I was gonna bring that up too. I was surprised at the defense when I saw it was 16th rate so right now in the NFL. And we're not really seeing, like, you guys, completely valid. I mean, it's, you go out there, you put a 3 and out 3 times, and your offense doesn't do anything. So I get, like, the defense also, that's affecting the defense and how much you spend on the field. But also, like, you can tell Matt Judon is, like, being injured. It hurts his team because it's just not getting the pressure they used to. Like, Uche is not really getting after the quarterback as much as he did. Duggar is not playing as good as he did. There's less takeaways. I get that you have 3 really top 3 cornerbacks are injured. Jonathan Jones is still not really 100%. And, like, the only bright spots is Peppers, and then I can't pronounce his name. Starts with a T. Tave, to help me out, guys.
Tabai?
Yeah, I'm seeing him all over the field. I'm like, yo, like, this is a guy that we all were like, really, this guy's on the field last season. He's one of the better players right now on the defense as far as making plays. So it's like, where's that production? So I think we're towards the end of the league right now in takeaways, and then our offense is not scoring. Our defense is basically our best. Our defense is our best offense, and our defense is not scoring. So, I mean, it's just a recipe right now. I mean, that's what I go back to.
The defense is not supposed to be scoring to keep your season alive to begin with. If you're relying on your defense to give you, like, to get you 8 touchdowns per season, it's not a recipe that's going to get you many wins, right? Like, it's not.
But
it's
as
not
you mentioned, that's what kept us kind of, like, not alive, because we weren't alive at all. But that's what kind of, like, that's kept us, like, it kept us. It made it a little bit better last season. Made us a little bit more tolerable. This season, like I said, brought it back. Like, everyone is not producing to the level they, like, capable of. Like, everyone's falling off. Like, people are not, and I'm not sure if it's exactly a coaching issue, because that's what you look at. Why are guys not performing to the best ability?
It's coaching, has to be, right? Yeah. I mean, who do you put it on? Who do you blame that to? Like, there's nothing. This is everywhere. If guys don't perform on the field, first you get on the guys, right? And then you take away guys and you bring in new guys, and those guys don't perform. At some point, then you start looking at the coaching, and it just so happens that we have Bill Belichick back there, so he gets obviously a longer leash than most coaches. I would say most coaches in the NFL. I mean, maybe Andy Reid has a long leash as well at this point. Let's like I said, I asked you guys, for example, do you think Bill Belichick, comes back next season? Brycen said he doesn't foresee Kraft getting rid of him. I can see the reasons why Kraft will give him one more shot. Megan says, I think, Megan, you're also on board with keeping Bill one more time?
No, I think.
There's 2 different questions there.
Yeah.
Do you think he comes back? And now, do you want him to come back? Those are 2 different questions. No. I don't want him to come back. I'm going to get to Brycen in a second. Do you want him to come back?
I
You
do
want him back?
not. I think it needs a change. I think his old style is not working. He's too hard-headed and too stubborn to change anything. I think Kraft. I know Brycen brought up he's not going to bring a new face, but what if it's in-house? I've been saying Mayo for a little bit now. I think if it just keeps turning out to be a disaster, I think if it just keeps turning out to be a disaster, because I mean, Kraft has expressed his I would say, what's the right word? Displeasure, I guess. I don't know.
Displeasure.
Displeasure with his draft history before. Like he really has to hit. He was talking about in this last draft. I mean, besides Gonzalez, guys, we are all excited in training camp, but guys not showing up the draft before that. It's just misses and misses and misses.
Don't disrespect the Mario, Megan. Don't disrespect the Mario.
Okay, yeah, sorry. But he's not even getting playing time. So it's like,
yeah.
So I think that there's a breaking point for everybody. And I also want to bring this up. I saw on Twitter today, I'm not going to say who exactly, because I'm not sure what the reaction you'll get. But Bill Belichick's 8 wins away from the all-time losing record. So we all talking about the winning record, but we're not looking at the losing record.
I'm not really paying attention to that because I saw that stat too. But you know why? Because when I'm paying attention, because he's been in the league for 30 plus years. So if you're in the league 30 plus years, you're gonna accumulate those losses as well. I mean, I'm not looking too much at that.
But if you look at it without Brady, like his record without Brady,
it's absolutely in shambles.
Exactly. So it's like, can you be okay? I'll ask you this: is Bill Belichick still the GOAT? If you have the all-time losing record, can you still be a GOAT with the all-time losing record?
Well, he doesn't have the all-time losing record, but he does have the most losses. I think it's
okay.
If you say the all-time losing record, you
most losses.
You flip a narrative there. But
I
don't know. I don't know what to think about as far as Bill Belichick, whether he's the GOAT still coach or not. I mean, I'm not sure. He's obviously done moves in the past where I think they're great moves, but. I'm not sure. But Brycen, do you want Bill Belichick back? Do you personally? I'm not talking about do you think he's coming back or not? But let's take that out of the equation. Do you want him back next season as a coach, GM?
Brian, since 2018, I've been calling for Robert Kraft to get rid of Bill Belichick with my BB out tweets. And Bill Belichick knows about these tweets. He knows about his entrance tweets that I have, and he knows about the BB out tweets. But right now, Brian, BB in.
BB in? And why is that?
I want to see Belichick live out the rest of his career wins with the Patriots, because I saw how it ended with Tom Brady. And part of a lot of our friends, it was cool to see Tom Brady win, but it also wasn't the same at all. And
no, it wasn't.
I know how Bill is, and I know a lot of my people who are Tom Brady fans dislike Bill a lot, but he's basically the only attachment left we have with this Patriots team, and everyone else is new basically. So with Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, I would like just to see Bill Belichick get that one more shot.
Yeah.
And I know the argument against it. He's built the team. So if you don't like the quarterback, he picked the quarterback. He's picked the players. At the end of the day, Bill Belichick ultimately holds everyone accountable to the highest level. So he holds himself to a high level of accountability too. But I still want to see that with Bill Belichick. I'm not ready. I mean that honestly. And Brian knows, I've trolled Bill longer than probably anyone.
Yeah.
And I've said that maybe Andy Reid was better than him or around his level longer than most people that I know, at least. And so, but I'm not Belichick's biggest fan or anything, but I'm as a person who also is a fan of the Patriots, I do also would like to see Belichick stay. But I do know that the thing that's probably best for the team, though, is probably for the Patriots to just clean house. But at Robert Kraft's age, is he really going to do that? I just can't see that. But if they were going to do that, you just hire another coach, let him get his guy, and see where it goes from there. But otherwise, I'd like to see BB in.
BB in. I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you. I think I'm going to give you two of the answers, but basically to the questions I asked you guys. And and then we're gonna get to mailbag real quick, so we can go ahead and start wrapping up. Now, first question. I mean, the first question I asked was, do I think Bill Belichick stays? Yes, I think Bill Belichick stays because I don't think Robert Kraft has the balls, quite honest, to fire Bill Belichick. I feel like he's gonna get at least one more shot, but I also think it depends on how the rest of the season goes. If the team loses, but they show any signs of competitiveness, and they start picking themselves up, in playing at least, they're in some games, and they show a little bit more fight, I guess you could say. I could see them, because that would be kind of a sign of like, okay, well, these guys are still playing for Bill. They're still playing hard for Bill. He hasn't completely lost the locker room, and maybe there's pieces here we can salvage. So I could see that angle where, I think he stays. But I also think if the team keeps getting blown out, like I'm talking about like the Dallas game or the Saints game, and I don't think the Patriots have a win at home this season. I think they're in serious jeopardy of not getting one at this point, the way they've played at home. I think if they continue to get blown out, and I'm talking about like blown out where it's not even close by halftime, I honestly could see them, moving all off of Bill and trying to go into a different direction. Now, do I want to? Man, that's a difficult question, because it's like you guys said, Bill's the only thing we have left from the dynasty at this point. There's nothing else that's really here as a core piece. And Matthew Slater. Yeah, I said it. Don't kill me. I said Slater, but Slater and Bill, right? And there's really nothing like a core piece that brings it back. And I really got emotional. I didn't really tweet too much about it, and I didn't say too much about it, but I really did get emotional watching Brady come back in the inaugural game against the Eagles this season. And I think that was probably the highlight of the season at this point. So I really I was rooting for Bill to own and do well and be like, look, I'm still the GOAT coach, and I can still do things, even though I don't have 12 back there. But he's proven to me that, I don't know if he's too stubborn, his ego's too big, or what's the problem. That it's come down to, is it better for the Patriots to keep him around? Or do I just want to see Bill succeed because, I'm being sentimental about the fact that he's the one of the last remaining cognizants of a Super Bowl team dynasty. And honestly, for me, ultimately, I want to see the team continue to succeed, and that's whether with Bill or not with Bill. So I would move on from Bill, and I will say Bill out, I guess BB out, but simple for the fact that I think that I just don't see. I can't envision a way where he can turn this around in one season, where next season he's going to come around and then all of a sudden the team's going to be competitive again with him at the helm, unless he makes drastic changes that I know both of you know that he doesn't necessarily make. He's not going to take. Let's say he goes and his plan is to sign Kirk Cousins. He's not going to go out there and get you a Keon Coleman or a Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft. That's not his MO. He's not going to draft a receiver top 5, top 7. He's going to take a defensive tackle, or he's going to take a left tackle, or I don't know who he's going to take. But he's not going to do that, right? I feel like today's NFL just hasn't adapted well to Bill's philosophy of roster building. So, and I just don't know if he continues to be here, if that philosophy is still going to translate any better than, let's say, with a Kirk Cousins, which we all already said that he's okay. But are we really Kirk Cousins like truthers all of a sudden? Are we really like, are we waving pom-poms to get Kirk Cousins in here? Not really. I mean, would he be an upgrade? Sure, but not ultimately. I'd rather have Drake May. I know me and Megan went back and forth, and she was telling me how Drake May this, and we argued for a while, and I was like, listen, I'd rather take Drake May. I would take Drake May over Marvin Harrison Jr. I said it right here. And we had this debate. I even made a poll. I even asked a question on Twitter. Would you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. over Drake May? And most people told me, no, they would not. They would take the quarterback. You got to get the quarterback. You need the quarterback. So
I said you can take the quarterback if you believe he's that guy.
Right. And like I said, that's why I say at that point, it's more about,
preference.
Yeah. And I'm a Drake May guy. I like Drake May a lot. And I like Penix. And same thing with, Brycen seems to be a big fan of Drake May as well, but that doesn't mean that Marvin Harrison Jr. would be a bad pick. I think he's going to be a good player. So let's move to mailbag, guys. Let's move to mailbag.
Real quick, Brycen, to ask your friend what's the lottery number or something, because it seems like you always have things a couple steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah, Joe seems to know a lot, Brycen. You might have to get him on.
What did you want me to say?
Does he know the lottery numbers? Because he seems to know. He seems to know a lot about what's going to happen with these quarterbacks.
You got like a crystal ball somewhere.
Tell
Not
Joe
just
to hit up Bill.
quarterbacks, but also Brycen even came up. Brycen even called out Bill Cup 2018. So hey, there's a crystal ball somewhere.
Yeah, maybe he needs to be the new Ernie Adams, Brycen. This Joe guy. We need to get him in the Patriots front office ASAP.
I think
at the scouting department.
It would be very grumpy, though. However, it would be a very grumpy front office with Joe.
They're used to that
right now.
I take it.
Talking about.
I'll take it. I will take it. I don't care at this point. We're down and desperate. All right, so this is one of the mailbag questions I got. Would you guys trade Josh Uche and Kyle Duggar if we go 1-7? Let's start with the guests, and then we'll move on to Megan.
Nah.
No? You keep every piece? You wouldn't trade anyone off the team?
Nah, I'd try to keep the guys. I think that the Patriots need to. I'm all for the Patriots paying players that are homegrown talent like Uche and Duggar. I'm all for that. I think the guys are too. I think they should really try to do that more.
It sets a positive message to the locker room. I can see that too as well. You can see like, hey, look, guys, we drafted you guys and we rewarded you by you played well enough to earn a second contract with us and we gave it to you. So I can see that. Yeah, Megan.
No, same. I prefer homegrown. I feel like you need to keep all the talent you have. So the guys you did hit on, you're not going to get much for 1-year rentals. So if you trade them, I mean, it's half the season now. And yeah, so keep them. They'll probably more value to you right now. Well, not right now, but next season, then they'll be to somebody else because you're really going to need that defense as you're rebuilding the offense. I
can see Kyle Duggar not being traded, but I can see Josh Uche being traded because I don't think they will pay him a pass rusher's money. And I like Josh Uche, I do, but I don't think he's anything to write home about. I don't think he's going to garner a contract. So I feel like if you're not planning on paying him, then you might as well get something for a pass rusher. Which
do you think he's going to score though? Because he only had one season. He had one big season. I don't know if he's going to score as crazy as people are thinking.
What, Josh Uche?
Yeah.
Score what? Like sacks?
Like he's not going to get a huge. No, I mean like he's not going to get a huge contract. I don't think because he only had one big season.
He has 2.5 sacks this season. He had 11.5 last year. He's a pass rusher. He's a situational pass rusher, and teams if they're going to view him as like, look, this guy can get us anywhere between 8 and 10 sacks. That's a win. They might give you a third rounder. I mean, they might give you a fourth. I don't know how much. I don't know exactly how to chart his value. So Josh Uche, I would move, especially if you're going to go 1-7. At this point, every draft pick you're getting is going to be at the beginning of each round, and that counts for something as well. So they're not getting any comp picks this year. As far as I mean, they're not getting anything because they just didn't get anybody signed off the roster worth getting a comp pick over. So I would move Josh Uche. Duggar, I don't know. Again, that's another guy that I'm not sure what they do with him, but I would not necessarily trade him either. I mean, he's one of the few guys in the defense that seems to be, one of the locker room looks up to. So I wouldn't really move on either.
I would say you have more safety help though than pass rush help right now.
I mean, we have like 30.
Yeah, secondary. But like, we have a lot of safety. I'm saying like, so I feel like if they have more safety than pass rushers.
I need to see this Marte Mapu guy play some fucking meaningful snaps at this point.
All the stuff we heard about him. Oh my
gosh! If I have to see Jalen Phillips getting ragdoll over there by coverage every week, I'm gonna gouge my eyes off. It's bad. He was very, very bad. I don't think he was very good at all against the Raiders, and I think there was a reason he was only getting play 10% of the snaps, which is not good. It's not good.
And that play fell off.
No, it definitely fell off. Other question is, do you guys blame Kraft for how this season has gone? Let's start with the lady, and then we'll move on to Brycen. What do you think? Do you blame Kraft?
Yeah, because he's also he's same thing as Bill, tied to his guy. So he's tied to his guy. I mean, the writing's been on the wall with Bill. He's not changing. He is who he is. His drafts has stuff. Like he should have stripped his GMing power a while ago.
Well, people say that, but would Bill have agreed to that? I don't think Bill would have agreed to that.
I don't know.
I don't see any scenario where Bill was like, you know
Do you
what?
think Bill's a controversial guy though? Do you think he's like a fight, You think he's a fighter?
You don't think Bill's?
I think he's stubborn.
How many
I think he's
controversial
stubborn.
moves has Bill done? Bill has done a ton of controversial moves. I mean, he's literally. We've lost draft picks because of Bill. He's definitely controversial. So he likes to push the boundaries. At the very least, you know he's controversial. You can't possibly tell me with a straight face the guy's not controversial. Brycen, what do you think? Is Kraft to blame?
I don't think so. He's allowed the
No,
Patriots to spend. He's allowed them to spend a lot of money.
I froze.
I mean,
well, how about this? Do you guys think he's a cheap owner? Do you think he's a cheap owner?
I don't think it's him that's making the final decision. I think it's Bill.
Brycen?
I don't think Kraft's had any problem paying a lot of players. I mean, over the years, especially in the offseason, the 2021 offseason, they paid a lot of players. I mean, they spent really through the entire Brady dynasty a lot of money anyway, in my opinion. And but I do think that they have been wise financially. Like, they haven't had a lot of horrible deals that have affected them here recently. You may argue Juju is probably going to be one of them, but usually they don't have a lot of deals that affect them for a long term that are too bad.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that you could possibly say, that they don't get themselves stuck in very long-term deals. Like they might have a deal here or there that lingers for 1 year, maybe 2 years max, but then they're able to get out of it for fairly quickly. I've said it before. I don't know exactly what portion of the blame I put on Kraft, but I do think that he has to, if he tied his future to Bill Belichick when he decided to keep Bill over Brady. Because the way I see it is, Kraft gambled on the longevity of success continuing in New England by staying out of the way and letting Bill basically let Brady go. So he stuck with Bill. He sided with Bill in the way I see it. At least that's personally how I view it. That he saw his future. He saw greener pastures with Bill here, and he gambled on that. And ultimately, if you gambled on that, and then you see the results of what happened with Brady once he left, and the results of what has happened with Bill since Brady's been gone, you would say that, Kraft deserves some type of culpability. I wouldn't exactly exude him from all blame, but I also don't think it's as deep as, many people are saying as far as what's wrong with Kraft. I mean, it's going to be interesting because if you think about it, guys, Kraft has a big decision this offseason, right? He has a big decision, period. He's got to decide if he's going to let Bill Belichick go or stay. It's going to be controversial, right? If he keeps Bill, because a lot of people are going to be like, well, you guys went 4-12 or 13, and right, you went 4-13, and you kept him after you having a horrible season. Or people are going to be like, if you fire him, like, you let go of the GOAT, because there's a lot of Bill truthers, and a lot of people have a soft spot for Bill. And and a lot of people are like Brycen, where they generally they rather see him get some type of success here and not go out the way Brady went out. There's different reasons for that. So I think ultimately, guys, I think Kraft deserves a little bit of blame based on my opinion, but it's gonna be interesting. I really am curious. I wish we could fast forward. It's crazy. I actually want the season to end already, just because I want to fast forward and I want to see what happens. Because I don't remember a season where there's been so much uncertainty heading into an off season this big. I mean, I know when Brady was a free agent, there was doubt around will he come back? He's going to retire. He's going to leave. There was it was big there, but I feel like now it's even bigger, just because you're talking about maybe a completely different retool makeover, from the core. So I think it's going to be very interesting as far as what happens this offseason. But I want to fast forward already. Like, it's crazy that I don't want to. I'm not interested in watching Patriots games because I want to get to the off season. Usually it's the other way around. So I find it's a little weird. Right? It's a little weird. It's a little weird that
Jets fans.
yeah, yeah. It's now I do what they did ask me one last question. I guess we can throw it out there. We can answer it quickly. Who's the best team in the AFC then? Who's coming out of the AFC? That's basically the last question. I still think it's the Chiefs until someone else says otherwise.
The Chiefs.
Right. The Chiefs. Who else are you gonna put out there?
I think you gotta. I mean, the best quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. He's on the Chiefs. It's just I'm not sure if Buffalo's closing that gap if they can stay healthy and be a little bit more consistent. I think Miami's a sleeper a little bit if they can become a little bit more. It's just nothing. Neither one's a sure thing. It's just there's a lot of talent, but there's no such things.
I think Buffalo lost too many key players on defense for them to be in the running. I think it's gonna be. I think it's the
They
Chiefs.
got far though before without a big defense
Nah, but they lost Matt Milano. They lost Davius White. I mean, they're decimated in the secondary.
Can they outscore? But we see in the Patriots, like, can they outscore guys? That's the question. Can they outscore them?
I don't know.
Miami game kind of impressed me.
I'm not a big Josh Allen guy. I mean,
me neither. No,
I'm not a big Josh. I know. Brycen, what do you think about Josh Allen? You like Josh Allen, right? You're a Josh Allen fan, right? Was it you? Was it Josh?
He's all right. He started off cold, but he's actually been pretty hot here recently. He's been pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not a big Josh Allen guy. Me personally, the guy creates too many turnovers for my liking, but he does have a huge arm and he can score a lot of points quickly. So, but we'll see. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank Mr. Brycen NFL for joining us today. It's been a long time since we had you on a pod, man. I really enjoyed your voice, your takes, and hopefully we can get you back here soon. Now, why don't you tell the people where they can find you online?
You can find me at TRENT. That is my @ I am Trent Brown. Nah, it's at Brycen NFL. Everyone knows because no one else is the Mario Douglas fan like me. So it was good to talk to you all. Happy to talk about the Patriots, even in times when they're not so good. There's always interesting things about the team and everything that's going on that we talked about. So like throughout the season, we're still here, even though they stink, because guess what? Even a tank you can make a tank exciting. I will do it. Watch this.
Yes. Thank God you're here because it gets depressing just trying to make something exciting out of this team. But yeah, I'm glad you came on, man, and hopefully we can get to talk to you soon. And like I said, if you guys haven't follow him on his handle. He's got the best hot takes fresh out of the oven. And now my lovely co-host Megan, where can the people find you online?
You can find me at Megan Holden 98 on Twitter or Instagram. And yeah, follow me. I'll follow back, and let's talk some Patriots and Celtics, and try not to be so depressing, but also call him out on his stuff.
Yeah. Make sure you give her a follow. Make sure you follow also our social media channel, BPON. And again, we'll be back next week as well. Hopefully to talk maybe about a rare win. I don't see us winning. But
don't say that. No, we don't want that. We don't want that.
You can find me at TTM Brian on socials and basically just asking a bunch of questions because that's really what I do now. I just want to know the public's opinion so that we can get kind of good take on this. And again, thanks again for joining us, guys. And we are out.